And that's kind of the beauty of Ness, is it's taken this ancient Chinese wisdom of the meridian system and then said, okay, let's use modern technology to support those energetic pathways with not just a needle in that acupuncture point, but with vibration and with infoceuticals. Welcome to Harmonic Alignment,
a podcast that explores the new frontier of energy medicine,
bridging the gap between Western medicine and quantum physics,
giving you easy and practical solutions.
Guided by
me, Dr. Larissa Sharipova,
and me, Priscilla Koblenz. Join us on a journey discovering your harmonic alignment. On episode 11 of Harmonic Alignment, Dr. Larissa Sharipova and myself, Priscilla Koblenz, discuss our favorite subject, energy. We are both Energy for Life Ness health practitioners, and we try to describe and make sense of the science of bioenergetics and how energy affects us mentally, physically, and emotionally. We'll talk about everything from the chakras, the scale of consciousness, muscle testing, structured water. You're in for a real treat. And stay tuned for our upcoming program that we're launching in the new year, helping people master their energy. Reserve your spot today on the Tuscany Transformation Retreat, June 15th through the 21st, 2025. Reconnect with your inner beauty, power, and abundance. Come join Dr. Larissa Sharipova and myself, Priscilla Koblenz, for 6 nights and 5 full days in the beautiful Tuscan countryside. We'll be staying at a villa that has a gorgeous swimming pool and hot tub, a Turkish bath, as well as this amazing yoga studio overlooking the olive trees and the vineyards. We'll offer daily yoga, meditation, breath work, sound healing, spa treatments, a Tuscan bike ride, a pasta cooking class, olive oil and wine tastings, as well as amazing, amazing food. For more detailed itinerary, check out our website and reserve your spot today. We've got 9 spots available. We are back for another exciting episode on Harmonic Alignment, and we're going to talk about my absolutely favorite topic today.
and my favorite.
Yeah, we're soul sisters in energy in our love of understanding what is energy. And I just want to start with my favorite quote. It's a Tesla quote that we've probably all heard, but it's always good to repeat it. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Wow.
And I love Tesla. I read so much about him, and he brought energy understanding to our world. But he was disregarded and not understood until now.
He was a pioneer,
Yeah.
so ahead of his time. Man, and the things that are coming on that front. Dr. L, let's talk about, you actually even wrote a chapter in your book on energy and how to use energy to heal yourself. So let's start with, how did that come about, and can you give us some insight on that?
So I came from medical world, from surgery and doing all medicine. And when I started healing my body and learning more about myself, I read and dug deeper on different levels. So I came to the study of energy and specifically chakras. So chakras, understanding of chakras, that was my first exposure to energy medicine. And from the ancient wisdom, we know about chakra system in our body, and we know mostly about 7 chakras in our body, but there are more chakras that we know now that is outside of our body, and how we can all be disbalanced in the chakras, and how we can balance our chakra and bring our body back to energetic alignment, harmonic alignment, as we call it. So when I start, and I actually took a course on different chakras, and that's what I wrote in my book about different chakras. When I test my own chakras, a lot of chakras were closed.
Really?
Or low energy, and specifically my throat chakra was closed. And how it manifested and why it happened, because in my unhappy marriage and different emotional abusive marriage, I could not speak for myself. So my throat chakra was closed and my voice was very low and I couldn't project my voice. So when I was speaking, nobody could hear me. and when I test chakras, that's what shows up. And I'm like, how I can work on my chakras. And I start doing different modalities that open my chakras. Some chakras were too open, that I had to close, or at least to balance my chakras. Some chakras were closed, or some low energy chakras. So when I start using different techniques, I start balance my chakras. And when my throat chakra become open, I start speaking louder, and I could project my voice. I could speak up for myself and protect myself through expressing my desires and my decisions. It helped me to heal my body on physical and emotional level.
I am so excited that you healed your throat chakra. And one of my first experiences with the chakras was I didn't even know the chakras were the colors of the rainbow, and I always wore a blue scarf. And I was a singer, and so the idea that I would always have this blue scarf on to like help open or balance or support the throat chakra, that is so cool. Because then it's just like, then of course we're always knowing, like someone once said, if you were repulsed by a color, which earlier in my younger years, like yellows and oranges, power and creativity or power and sexual energy are things that I try to avoid. And I think that if we're avoiding a color or we're obsessed with a color, we might be out of balance.
Yeah, and interesting you said about blue and throat chakra. Blue is my favorite color. Now I always wear blue scarf, because when you wear scarf on your neck, it means that you protecting your throat chakra.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
I love scarves, particularly in the winter when I feel cold. I want to cover my throat chakra, so I'm protecting it. I'm protecting my voice. I'm protecting my
so love scarves. In America, we don't wear as many scarves as we do in Europe and other countries. I never thought about it as a protection. I just thought about maybe enhancing it. I'd heard that, say I wanted to have more love today, I'm going to wear green, or I wanted to project more strength, I would wear red. But I never thought about color as a protection too. I love that.
Not only color, but covering your throat. That's where the throat chakra is, like covering your area where that chakra is.
It seems to me that so many women have trouble with the throat chakra, or they're just not speaking their truth.
Yeah.
Women are people pleasers, and we just like hold it all in, and that's got to cause some physical symptoms in the body.
And when, of course, we know that every chakra is related to different physical organs in the body and also emotions. So, for example, if you're talking about throat chakra, it's related to thyroid. So if the chakra is closed, it means that it's cold, right? It's not enough energy in that area, and usually it's a low thyroid gland function.
And so many women suffer with low thyroid
or autoimmune, because if you don't speak for yourself, if you stuck all whatever your emotions inside, again, your chakra is closed, it's cold, and what's happened if you don't express it? Your body start fighting your own body. That's when autoimmune disease happen.
Well, I was going to say then, when the stomach chakra, which is yellow, the color of yellow, and it's in the solar plexus, do you think that everyone with leaky gut is having some imbalance in their digestion because of that chakra being too open, too closed?
So what's interesting about stomach chakra, it's related to your self-esteem.
Wow, that explains why a lot of women have some stomach issues, right?
And it's because we know that it's a nervous system and a lot of intrinsic nervous system in the gut. And of course, if we have a low self-esteem, again, the chakra is not open or not enough energy in that chakra. So if your stomach, that is solar plexus chakra, is closed, you don't have enough fire, as we call the energy ball that goes through the whole chakra. We don't have enough fire in our stomach, so our stomach is sluggish, we have a constipation. And again, emotionally, you're not releasing something, you're holding something up. in our stomachs. So
we're holding on to something.
Not letting go. We hold
go.
our emotions, or we hold something that we need to let go.
So a lot of women deal with constipation. They're not going every day. It's actually one of the first things I say to someone. If you are not having a healthy bowel movement before noon every day, we got to address that right away. Like that's the first thing. But it could be a stuck emotions.
Yeah. So it's not only physically like removing, your waste and detoxify your body, but also removing waste of your emotions.
Right.
So letting go of your emotions, and until you heal that emotions or learning to let go, I don't think you can heal your gut and heal constipation. You can take as many probiotics or stool softeners,
and you're still right.
You're still gonna have problem and microbiome and nerves in your gut and leaky gut and constipation.
You just hit the nail on the head. I know people who have gone through this journey of constipation, and they have looked at every supplement on the market, every gut product, all of those things. Even I have a friend who has a lot of skin issues, and she's finally resolved that, you know what? It's an emotional thing that I haven't healed. When do you bring in the energy and emotional work for clients?
I wish I could bring first, because if you don't deal with that, doesn't matter what you do physically or supplement wise or nutrition. So if you have emotional issue, you can't even digest food properly.
Yeah.
And we know that emotions, it's energy in motion. So you have your emotion that's stuck in your body, and we know from a lot of research now that any emotions can create a somatic experiences in the body, and somatic it's mean body manifestations of emotions. We hold our emotions everywhere in the body. So it's energetic stagnations. Specifically for women, we have a lot of emotions to process. We hold our emotions, we don't speak up about our emotions, and that creates a lot of physical ailments.
Well, when you were figuring out what was open and closed, were you using a pendulum? How were you determining how to tell what's going on with those chakras energetically?
I discovered one practitioners who teach about chakras, and there was a questionnaire
that would help you figure out what chakra was out of balance,
because again it can be a physical manifestation or emotional. So when you answer questions, tells you what possible chakra that is closed or open. So it's based on your answers.
And then we're going to say, okay, this is what needs more balance. Okay, so now we've determined that someone needs to balance and open their throat chakra and get it energetically going, learn to speak their truth. What would be the next steps?
There's, like you said, it's pendulum. You can check your chakra.
When we say pendulum, maybe we should explain that a little bit more.
Go ahead.
I think of pendulum, I think of muscle testing as well.
Yep.
That somewhere in the body, my body knows its truth. And that there is an energetic flow to when things are going in a certain direction and when they're not. But let's say I can take a food that I can test to see if this food is going to work for my body today, and I can hold the pendulum and it's going to give me a yes or no. This supports me for my highest good. I set the questions up and I test the pendulum. I always say, okay, my name is Fred. And that's how I know the no versus the yes. And then I try to release any emotional connection, because I think we can influence muscle testing and pendulums, like trying to get out of your own way. That I have no attachment to any answer that I receive, and I'm looking for what's in my highest good. I think it's the pendulum and the muscle testing are another way to tap into your innate knowing, or trying to connect with your own sovereignty. Like, what is Dr. L? What is Priscilla's truth? Which is bypassing the thinking mind. What else would you add to that?
So I have a little bit issue with this, because you just said you need to release, but what if I cannot release?
Yes.
What if I don't speak my truth? Same with practitioners, when they do muscle testing, I think it's always influence from the person who is doing muscle testing on you, or even you do muscle testing on yourself, or pendulum, or muscle testing through the fingers, through these fingers, the arm, because you always have influence of other person, or even yourself.
It's so hard to be an empty vessel. I really want that chocolate cake. I am going to influence that pendulum.
Yep.
So I can eat that chocolate cake, because the joy of that chocolate cake, and it could be that the joy of that piece of chocolate cake in this one day is what my body needs, versus the fact that I'm even asking it actually may be what my body needs. But you get what I mean.
So that's why when I learned about NES system, it's a computer that tests what your body needs. And that's what attracted me to the system.
To the Nest Health system.
Okay,
so we are not only Soul Sisters Energy, we are both Nest practitioners. I think we met before we even knew that. We were both learning the Nest Health system. So Nest is an energy system that is reading the energy that's going on in the bodies. I think I heard once it's like 76 different mathematical formulas on different energetic pathways that they're running it like 76 times on certain pathways to see what's coming up as your roadblocks: food, toxins, emotions. How do you explain Nest Health to someone who's new to kind of the energy medicine space?
First, if people are more open-minded to alternative things to test or assess their body, so that's what I explain. We all energy, everything in energy. Our body is energy because we created, well, if you come from medical world or you just in that kind of world, I explain that we have organs and systems made from tissue made from cells made from molecules made from atoms made from what?
Energy.
Neutrons, protons, and electrons. And that is energy.
Right.
So that's what we come to. That's energy. Every cell in our body is energy, and everything around us is energy. So how do we get energy from outside? And that's what we create in our body. So we get energy from the food, from the water, from sun, from sleep, from circadian rhythm, from the earth. That's how we feed our body, our energy that is on our cells. And every organ in our body, every cell in our body has its own resonance. And that's what NES Health system testing, how we resonate. The system was created a long time ago based on quantum physics, and now it's a huge field of research. Quantum physics, quantum mathematics, quantum medicine.
I am amazed. I mean, Einstein was talking quantum physics, what are we, almost, 80, how many years ago? It's still not made its way into the Western medical system. Like
and Tesla was talking about it as well.
Yeah, and it's like it's been so slow for us to understand the true meaning of the universe. And I go back to, I love how you described it down that everything is energy. And I always try to explain it, well, everything's vibrating. I mean, quantum physics says that this chair has a frequency, this has a frequency, the book has a frequency, we have a frequency. I then tie it into the scale of consciousness, which was Hawking's work, where 0 to 1,000 is consciousness, 20 is shame. It's the lowest vibration. People kill themselves in shame, but not anger. But anger, fear, shame, and guilt are all low frequency on the scale. 500 is unconditional love. Jesus, Buddha, the avatars were 800 and 900 on the scale of consciousness. And most humans are vibrating at 200. And when Hawkins was alive, he basically said that most humans weren't going to rise on the scale. But after his death, we were raising consciousness on the planet 20 points at a time. Like, we have been record raising of consciousness and vibration and understanding. When I learned the scale of consciousness, I understood how negative thinking influenced my vibrational frequency. And so I was like, oh, well, if I'm energy and water and everything is stored and frequencies are stored, the more I play in these low frequencies of anger, fear, shame, and guilt, the lower my vibration is, the lower my light energy is, the less I show up as this bright light in the world, if that makes sense.
So if we take that and bring it to the physiological conditions in our body, mitochondria is energy, right? So if we bring that energy lower, like with negative thinking, with different emotions that on a low vibrational field, we bring our physiological, like mitochondria energy low. So how do we feel? We feel low, we have no energy, so it's become physiological.
And disease, like stuff will start to creep into the physical body because our frequency is so low.
And most of the chronic condition is because of the mitochondrial problem. And what's mitochondria? It's creation of energy, not only energy from the food, but also resonance. How do we resonate with different things? And when we put resonance from outside world, like emotions and in the water, in the air. And when we resonate with something, so resonate, it means come on the same vibrational plate.
Like when we think of resonant, I think of like a tuning fork that if I click it and I have the same tuning fork over here, it will actually start to vibrate without me actually
Synchronize.
doing it. It's like, okay.
Synchronization. Or coherence. We become on the same kind of vibrational level. So if we expose to something on a low frequency, like somebody who is screaming at you, or you in that environment that is on low vibration, our cells become resonate with that lower energy. So that's why we become sick. Like if I lived for 25 years in abusive relationship, what's happened with me, I become so low and resonant on that low level that I become sick.
Right, your immune system, everything starts
from mitochondria. If mitochondria is become a low energy, so everything is downfall effect.
Wow.
You have, no energy, and you have create the inflammation, because inflammation is a low energy field.
Well, let's just take it back like a bigger picture, because I think one of the things that's creating people's low vibrational frequencies is the media that they consume. So if you're watching mainstream news and all you get is negative, you don't find the joy and the peace and know that your neighbor is doing this to help his fellow neighbor, or you only see death and destruction and pain and suffering, then we have to know on a cellular level, an energetic level, that affects our mitochondria, our energy system in our body, and now we are going to be more susceptible to disease.
So if we learn how to protect ourselves from that exposure of low level of energy, or not consume or not become a resonance with that, because the more we expose to that, the more we become sync to that. So if we protect ourselves from that low energy, don't get tuned in to that news, don't put TV on, or don't listen, or don't go to that environment with low vibration. So that's how we protect our own energy. So be aware of that
we can actually protect ourselves,
yes,
that we can limit it. Or I've even gotten to where I could read it. It's different. There's a different vibration reading something. It's not as intense as me watching something and seeing something. If I'm watching it, it affects me more than me reading it. So how important is a higher energy practice in the morning? How do you start your day with high vibrational stuff?
So it's like with physical toxins. We don't need only to detoxify, get rid of all that bad stuff, but we need to stop expose ourselves with that stuff. So same with energetic exposure. You stop or prevent yourself to expose to low vibration, low energy, which is all negative things, but also bringing your body higher on a vibrational scale, which is positive emotions. So do anything possible on energetic field, and high energy can come from different sources, like sound. We can know that sound has a different vibration, and this way we neutralize the negative vibration or low vibration. So the higher your body vibrating, the better you're protected to the low frequencies. So it kind of neutralize that if we still get exposed to, because sometimes we have to work in negative environment.
Right, you encounter negative people driving on the road. Yeah. You're going to encounter all these things. I love that you said sound, but I was also sitting here like getting in nature, like touching the ground, being with animals and plants.
Hug a tree.
Hug a tree.
That's my favorite now. Every time I go for a walk in my neighborhood, we have a lot of nature. I have a favorite tree that I hug, and that's my...
It's like a reset.
Yeah, because Earth and all in nature that come from Earth, it has low vibration. We know it as Schumann resonance, and also a lot of electrons that we get to our bodies through touching ground with your bare feet, also hugging the tree. Just go to expose yourself to the nature. Forest bathing, I know it's popular in Japan. So that is all bringing your body to a high vibration.
Once we understand what high vibration is, there's also lots of toxic, I'll call them frequencies more than vibrations, that can really inhibit. And those are the electromagnetic frequencies from our cell phones, from our device, from electromagnetic fields, from electricity.
Yeah, dirty electricity, yeah.
The book, The Invisible Rainbow, talks about when the first telegraph operators, how sick they got when they were working, because it was such a new energy frequency. It was a new frequency that was hitting the human body for the very first time. And that humans have to have time to adapt to these frequencies that aren't conducive and with nature, if that makes sense. Because like you just mentioned the Schumann, well, that we know that there are places on this planet that have had these wonderful healing vibrational areas, and we can measure that now. And they're all in nature. They're not man-made, but are we actually being able to create healing frequencies that are close in alignment with nature?
Because of technology and quantum physics and mechanics, now we can create those vibrations, and we can assess through that formulas. That's what we use with our NES health system. So we can measure and compare what's energy we have in our body to what is supposed to be. Because how the system was created, Professor Fraser in Australia started exploring this field 25 years ago. So he measured each tissue and organs in the body and test the vibration. So we know that frequencies in each organ and system in the body. And when we are using this health system for clients, right? So we test our clients, assess the energy of our clients, and it's compared to what is supposed to be. And that's what we see on the results. What organ is not resonating as a normal, and also what's affecting, because every environmental toxins, our body is repelled, and how we can accept that. And so that's also tested through the system. Nutritional, how do our vibration in our body resonate with certain nutrition, so that can be also tested. And how we can accept the energy that we get from the earth, right? The earth energy. So the technology now can have access to all this that we knew thousands and years through Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine, because they already knew about energy healing modalities and all what's happening energetically, but now we can justify it and have science.
I love that. When Dr. Peter Fraser was in Australia, I had heard he was one of the first people to get into China and really look at the Chinese meridian system and with modern technology and chart and say, not only are all these meridians accurate, like they are connected to the organs and they have these beautiful energetic, I want to call them roadmaps in every human's body, and all animals have them too, I'm assuming. But he was also able to say they work almost like a giant symphony. They are all connected, and you can't have one without the other, and how the flow is. And that's kind of the beauty of NES, is it's taken this ancient Chinese wisdom of the meridian system and then said, okay, let's use modern technology to support those energetic pathways with not just a needle in that acupuncture point, but with vibration and with infoceuticals. And you want to talk about like the magic of infoceuticals and how this is just, to me, so mind-blowing that you can figure this out and put frequency in a bottle of water, and you can take those drops and you can have a healing response.
I think because of the technology and science of quantum physics and mathematics and computers, so now we're able to create the energy and deliver to our bodies through different systems. So we do have my health device that also can balance and detect where the energy is balanced and deliver like biofeedback, but also infoceuticals, which energy, the resonance, can be put in structured water, because structured water what's in our cells, and that's what can hold the vibration. And when we take it as a remedy in a water and take in our body, it goes where it's need to go, like certain organs, certain tissue, and it's delivering the energy that is disbalanced in that specific area. And when energy become balanced in our body can start healing itself. And some people have healing crisis while taking infoceuticals and using different energy balancing techniques, and that's what body needs. So if you deliver something that your body needs, and remove something that your body does not
Not
need.
need.
And you can heal yourself. That's the power of self-healing.
That's the power of self-healing. I love it. You mentioned structured water, which is a whole podcast in itself. But I guess the structured water for dummies or beginners is that Gerald Pollack's work found that there's a fourth phase of water. And the fourth phase of water is this gel state where that's what we're finding is what's inside the human body. And the gel state is being almost like electrified. It's like water in this moving gel state. And we need to have energy in our water. I guess structured is energetic water. Mm-hmm. Is that another word for structured water? Yeah. So explain to people how they would just normally have structured water. Like what would be your structured water? I mean, I can sing and pray to the water and we can actually structure it. But there are some other things.
Our cells, it's not H2O, it's not water, it's H2O3. So there is more hydrogen molecules in our cells than regular water.
That's why water doesn't just roll out of us when we poke a hole in us, right? Okay.
So it's more kind of jelly consistency, like a plasma, it's a structured water.
Okay.
So before we didn't know about that four phases of water. Now we knew about gas, liquid, and solid. Now we know that fourth stage, which is between solid and liquid. That's a recent discovery with Nobel Prize winner.
It's so exciting. Yeah. I mean, but I think we've only scratched the surface of water. Because if water is storing actual memory, and then you think of like the consciousness and the people who love crystals or different rock formations, all that is structured water that's hardened over time, right? And every cell phone has a quartz crystal in it. So how energy transmits, I get so excited about it.
So energy is information. For example, as you mentioned, cell phones, right? How our cell phones connected to the cell tower.
Right.
Through the ether.
Right.
And ether is information and ether is energy. So can you imagine you have one cell phone provider. I have another one. My phone does not connect to your cell phone provider. Right? So why it's connected only to mine?
Again,
because
we're saying there is a frequency.
Same resonance.
They're using the resonance. Okay.
So there is same resonance. I can connect only to because my phone is programmed to that specific resonance or vibration or frequencies.
So if you believe a cell phone that doesn't have a cord can connect to a tower or call someone in a foreign country, say we're going to make a call to Australia, then how can you not believe in energy medicine?
And all this, it's information in the ether.
Right.
And that is now we call plasma.
Right.
We call it information field. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting about that concept of information, because our thoughts is information. Where do we get our thoughts?
From the ether.
So and that's full of information. And how sometimes different people come up with the same thoughts. How people can create something in a different part of the world with the same
time. There's been stories of that through the century. Yeah. Once the person broke the first, 4-minute mile, all across the planet, someone started doing it. So it's like that thought or that energy was on the planet and now it's happening. But I love what you just said, that power, I think people don't realize the power of a thought. I think the thought has a frequency. Then you say the thought out loud. We just doubled the frequency. Mm-hmm. Now you sing and dance the thought or you write it down. You just are amplifying that frequency over and over and over, even if it's wrong or right or good or bad.
And that's what law of attraction based on, right? Because the more you think about it,
right,
the more chance that it will attract it to you. You can think negatively, right, it will be attracted to you. You can
right,
think positively, it will be attracted to you.
Which you bring up a really good point, because people are like, oh, what if pharmaceuticals are like placebo? And I'm like, well, I hope they are. Someone said if we just invest $1 billion in the placebo effect, wouldn't we all be well now? Because that can be 30, 40, 50% of people can experience a placebo effect. I don't think the placebo effect is nothing. I think there's molecules aligning in the ethers, or we're tapping into some kind of energy in order to heal. How do you explain that to people when they say, well, is it really working, or is my mind convinced it's working? And which one is real?
but they're both real. And it's good to have a placebo, but there is an opposite to placebo. It's a nocebo effect. If you think that something is not going to help you, it's not going to help you. Or maybe very small percent that is going to help you, because we put ourselves on a low vibration if we think negative. For example, if you go to surgery and you think that you think all about negative effect that what can happen after surgery or during surgery, and of course that surgery is gonna go badly,
right?
Because you already think about it, and it's create information around your surgery, and it's affected all the procedure, so it can have negative effect.
I remember the story of the placebo surgery. I remember they did, was it knee replacements or knee surgeries? So they had recorded a surgery, like they were actually going in. They did an incision on the person, and then they played the video and kept them in anesthesia like they thought they were getting the surgery. And those people came out of that and walked and ran and jumped, and they thought it worked. Yeah. Literally, they had been convinced they were getting the knee surgery. They didn't tell them they didn't get the knee surgery, and their knees were fixed.
And the same
blew my mind.
Dr. Joe Dispenza, he wrote his book about his own healing, how he healed his spine after car accident. He was recommended to go to surgery because he had a spine injury after accident, and he didn't want to do it. He healed his own body through the thoughts, through the vibrations, through the energy. Wow. And now he's completely 100% functional. So the power of thoughts, again, it's power of vibration
to heal physical body parts, to regrow. I've heard stories of people regrowing bone that was told it wasn't possible, organs regrowing after removal. Like, that's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, so it's with technology and science, I think it's next level of healing, and I wish the medicine would catch up soon enough, but we know that anything new things is gonna take years and decades to get to that medicine.
I think what Ness has created is that bridge between the Western medicine and before you actually heal your own body with your own mind. And in the meantime, let's support you with these energetic frequencies, whether it be the infoceuticals or the actual My Health device. We're going to support the body through all of these things. And even they have in the guided meditations, because they understand like getting you in the right vibrational mindset can actually help heal the body as well. And it has no side effects. So it's unlike a pill or a medication. You can still be taking every medicine that you've been prescribed or still participating in a Western medicine system. And when I've worked with some clients, I'm not taking them off their meds, but they start to feel better just with the energy medicine.
And it's actually helped resonate even with that medication that they're taking. So medication become better for them.
It actually will work better.
Yeah, with all energy modalities. So it's better even to help from the medical perspective with, even surgery. It's much better healing and faster healing if they go to the surgery and using the healing modalities, so it heals much better.
You told me even in Russia after surgery, they were using frequency devices to help speed up surgery recoveries.
And prevent scars.
Wow.
Yeah, like rehab, it's rehab medicine, so they use different physical devices like ultrasound and microcurrent, magnetic frequencies to help people recover after surgeries or any chronic kind of conditions.
One of my favorite frequencies is the post-electromagnetic frequency that you can find in what I call the mats, or you can sit on them, they lower inflammation. But in the My Health device, we actually have that as well.
Yeah. And also biofeedback.
When you say biofeedback, can you give someone a definition of what biofeedback is?
So biofeedback, when you use the device, it scans your body and see where your resonance is and deliver what's needed. So your device is scanning your body and delivering what's needed.
Love that. So thank you so much, Dr. L. Hey, the energy medicine conversation is ongoing.
Right.
So just stay tuned for more. The science is changing every day. It's so exciting.
And there's a lot of information there, so we can go deep on each topic.
I love it.
Are you ready for your Energy for Life bioenergetic nest scan?
Dr. Larissa Sharapova and myself, Priscilla Koblenz, offer personal, private, 90-minute consults to get you back to optimal health and well-being. And starting in the new year, we're offering an Energy Mastery Program, a monthly membership, which will give you access to a monthly scan as well as 2 group masterclasses to help you optimize your wellness in the new year. For more details, visit the show notes or check out harmonicalignment.co. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Harmonic Alignment. If something resonated with you, we would love to hear about it. Please consider leaving us a 5-star review and subscribing so you don't miss an upcoming episode. Thank you. The information contained in this podcast is provided for informational purposes only and not intended for the purpose of diagnosing, treating, curing, or preventing any disease. Before using any products referenced on the podcast, consult with your healthcare provider. Carefully read all labels and directions. The products and information received through the podcast should not be used to replace a consultation or advice from your healthcare provider. If you suspect you have a medical problem or have any healthcare questions, please promptly call your healthcare provider. This podcast, including Dr. Larissa Sharapova and Priscilla Koblenz, and the producers are not responsible for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained in this podcast. This podcast may contain endorsements and advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct financial benefit to the product or services referenced.